There is a standing executive directive called Presidential Directive 51. No legislature voted for it. No court has reviewed its classified annexes, and it has governed the legal architecture of the United States government since May 9, 2007. That date matters. Write it down. 1 month after it was signed, a sitting congressman walked into a secure facility in the Capitol and asked to read the classified portions of that directive. He was a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. He had the clearance. He was turned away. The document that describes how American government survives a catastrophic emergency is not available to the people who write America's laws, and there is nothing they can do about it. Here is what Directive 51 literally is. Its full designation is National Security Presidential Directive 51, dual-stamped as Homeland Security Presidential Directive 20. On its face, it establishes the legal framework for continuity of government, abbreviated COG, across all three branches of federal power during what it calls a catastrophic emergency. That phrase is the key. The directive defines a catastrophic emergency as any incident that results in extraordinary levels of mass casualties, damage, or disruption severely affecting the U.S. population, infrastructure, environment, economy, or government functions. Read that last word again. Government functions. A severe disruption to government functions. That definition is broad enough to mean almost anything, and the people who wrote it knew exactly what they were doing. No congressional committee marked it up. No floor vote was held. No senator offered an amendment. A single presidential signature on a quiet Tuesday in May installed it as binding policy across the entire federal government. That is how it came to exist. Presidential directives, sometimes called executive directives or national security action memoranda, are not laws in the legislative sense. They do not pass through the Article I process. They are instructions from the president to the executive branch, carrying the full force of coordinating authority within that branch. Directive 51 goes further. It explicitly addresses continuity obligations for Congress and the federal judiciary, the branches the president does not control, and it does so with no recorded objection from either body at the time. The classified annexes are what no one discusses. The public portion of Directive 51 runs roughly 3,000 words. But the directive itself acknowledges the existence of classified continuity annexes, documents containing the operational specifics of what actually happens when the trigger conditions are met, who holds authority during the designated emergency period, how decisions get made, which functions transfer to which officials. The congressman who tried to read those annexes in 2007 was Representative Peter DeFazio of Oregon. He requested access twice. He was denied both times. The Bush White House cited national security. DeFazio told reporters he found that deeply disturbing. That was 19 years ago. The annexes remain classified. Remember, no one voted for this. Here is what the directive can do to an ordinary American. Under a declared continuity emergency, Directive 51 tasks a single White House official, the National Continuity Coordinator, a position appointed by and answering solely to the President, with overseeing execution of continuity plans across every cabinet department simultaneously. That includes the agencies that regulate your bank, process your tax return, manage the power grid, and administer federal benefits. The directive does not suspend the Constitution. It does something quieter. It establishes a parallel chain of command that operates alongside normal governmental function, and that, by design, answers to a single point of coordination. The public-facing agencies continue, but the authority structure behind them quietly shifts. You would see the same logos, the same buildings. The operational control would run through a chain that no one elected and that the legislature cannot audit, because the document defining that chain is locked inside a vault they are not permitted to enter. And here is the part that should actually worry you: it's completely legal. There is no statute to repeal. Directive 51 is not a law. Congress cannot vote to undo it because they never voted on it in the first place. A future president could revoke it, replace it with something narrower, or expand its classified annexes further. That is the full extent of the check. The federal judiciary has never reviewed the classified operational components because no case has established standing to compel their release. The directive operates in a legal space that is simultaneously subject to constitutional governance and beyond the practical reach of the institutions that Constitution created. It was designed to fill a gap. The gap is now a permanent structure. Think about what that architecture implies for every other classified executive directive you do not know exists. Directive 51 is known only because its unclassified summary was published. The operational substance is sealed. If that logic applies here, a routine continuity framework with classified annexes that a cleared congressman cannot read, then there is no principled reason to assume it applies only here. The framework that governs how power transfers in an emergency is invisible by design. That is not an accident. That is the design. And what you are left with is a quiet, unanswerable question. If no one outside the executive branch can read the annexes that define what emergency authority actually looks like, how would anyone know if it had already been used?